Senate Republicans voted for the infrastructure bill, and 13 House Republicans broke ranks with party leadership. And joining us now is one of those Republicans, Nicole Malliotakis of New York. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being with us. You just heard Kristi Romans talk about some of the things in that bill. What was it inside that you liked so much for the people of Staten Island and Brooklyn that you voted yes?
Well, you know, for years, maybe decades, Republicans and Democrats, local and national leaders have really not kept up with pace with infrastructure. And that is one of the key things that taxpayers actually pay for. When they pay their taxes, they want basic things and roads and bridges and tunnels and ports, ensuring that, you know, they have clean water, ensuring that they have an adequate sewer system. These are the things that people expect when they pay taxes. And so I'm happy to have joined with my colleagues to support this, one of the few bipartisan things that I've been able to say has been accomplished in this Congress. For my district in particular, I mean, the money in there can be used for all sorts of projects. And I look forward to working with my local legislators to identify what priorities we're going to unite on and push across the finish line. But everything from flooding on the Belt Parkway in Brooklyn to upgrading the subway signals for my constituents here in the city that are dealing with, you know, pre-World War II equipment and has led to numerous delays on the subway system. On Staten Island, you know, there's funding here that we can complete the HOV lane on the Staten Island Expressway to ensure sewer infrastructure, which is so critical as somebody who represents a district that was slammed during Ida. We need to increase the capacity of our sewers across the city of New York, and of course, to finish the East Shore seawall. We allocated the funding for that, but with each day that passes, the cost of that project is increasing, and we need to make sure that it is fully funded so there are no further delays. That is something so critical to those that I represent that were impacted by Hurricane Sandy. So I look forward to working with my colleagues here locally and the mayor and the governor to ensure that the money is being spent wisely and that it's spent appropriately and for the projects that we so desperately need.
As you noted, this is one of the few bipartisan measures that seems to have gotten anywhere. And not just since you've been in Congress, you're fairly new, but for a long, long time. So what was the secret sauce here? Why was President Biden able to get Infrastructure Week finally where former President Trump couldn't do it?
Well, I think at the end of the day, look, President Trump laid the groundwork for this infrastructure to pass, and he also wanted $1 trillion in spending into America's infrastructure, and it's important for economic growth, right? And we lose trillions when over the next decade if we did not put in this investment to upgrade and modernize our infrastructure. So, you know, I'm happy and I'm appreciative to President Trump for, you know, being one of the first to really talk about the need for infrastructure. Now, I think the reason why it got over the finish line now is twofold. Number one, moderate Republicans and Democrats really came together to say we wanted a standalone vote on this bill. This bill had been kicking around since March. It was passed in the Senate, and unfortunately, those who were the more progressive and socialist wing of the Democratic Party were trying to hijack it to camouflage some of that Build Back Better spending bill, and they didn't want to allow this to come for a vote. But we really pushed back and said we want this to be independently debated and voted on. And the American people deserve that type of transparency. So I think at the end of the day, this coalition of Republicans and Democrats that demanded that it be brought for an independent vote were the ones that brought it over the finish line. And I think it was just a good victory, not just for the people in my district, but all across America.
Right.
And look, Republicans will get credit, Democrats will get credit, the president will get some credit, and President Trump does deserve some credit for initially saying that we need to invest $1 trillion into our infrastructure. At the end of the day, it's the people of this country and the people in my district that are the big winners.
You have received some backlash for your vote here. In some cases, it was pre-backlash. I don't know what you call that. Pre-backlash? Pre-lash to your vote here? This was from Madison Cawthorn, who tweeted, "Vote for this infrastructure bill and I will primary the hell out of you." Marjorie Taylor Greene said that you and others who supported this bill will feel the anger of the GOP voter. How scared are you of Madison Cawthorn and Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Look, I don't work for anybody except for my constituents, the people of Staten Island and Brooklyn, and I'm going to do what's in their best interest. There are some who wanted to deny the president from being able to take any credit. That's the way they legislate. That's their business. But I'm going to do what's in the best interest of my country and my community, and that's that. But I'll say also that, unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there about this bill, and people should be clear that there is another spending bill, and that's the bill that contains the 87,000 IRS agents. That's the bill that contains, the amnesty provisions and handouts to those who are in the country illegally. And that is the one that people are mostly upset and angry about. And I think that people have to differentiate that these are two different bills. And I think actually by passing this bipartisan infrastructure bill that we've actually undermined Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the socialist wing of the Democratic Party from being able to hold infrastructure hostage, and now they've lost their leverage. And I think that's an important thing to say. So at the end of the day, I think it was those of us who were willing to work in a bipartisan fashion to pass this that actually did what was in the best interest of America.
Congresswoman Malliotakis, thank you for being